Well, I might actually cut this. Hang on. I had something. It's good that I can do whatever I want in post.
I know. It's great, right? If I just like flip you the bird right now, you could cut that out and I'd never even see it, right?
I'll put it as the start of the video.
Welcome to Investor Hell.
Yeah, yeah. See how friendly we are. Read between the lines, folks. Called subtext for a reason. No,
Right, right. Turn off closed caption, kids.
yeah, that's right. Hi, my name is Markham Smeltzer. Welcome to Investor Hell. Today, my guest for episode 5 is Shawn Ricehouse. Shawn, you and I have only met each other once. Your wife, lovely lady, very kind, spoke with her more than I have with you. I remember pitching Investor Hell when we were at Brass Tap a few weeks back. I remember saying that you wanted to be on before I posted the Grant Cardone interview. So I have kept my word. I have yet to put that online. And so it's your turn. It's your turn. Let's get to you. Shawn, how are you today?
Good, good. It's awesome. Having a good day, sir. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Tell me about you. Tell me about yourself. What is it that you stand for and what is it that you do? And what is the essence of Shawn?
That's a great question. So I think that, over the years, as you continue to grow, age, mature, however you want to look at it, I think it evolves from one stage to the next. And I think at this point in my life, I have been presented an opportunity and put into a position where we're able to help other people. And that could vary from anywhere from helping people find a place to live, or it could be variants of helping people um, make their first investment. It could be a numerous range of things, but as time goes on, as the band marches on, I tend to find myself in a position where I'm able to help a lot more people than I was, say, even 5, 10 years ago.
Shawn helps people. That's the essence of Shawn. Shawn likes to help people.
I think so. I think if I could sum it up in a very short phrase, yeah, I think it's a very rewarding experience. And again, as you're younger, you don't really look at the world in the same aspect as you do when you get a little bit older. Things change, right? So things progress, and you see that if you treat people with respect and you try to help people, there's a lot of reward in that.
Well, that's the reason actually why I created Investor Hell was so that people who listen to the show could avoid the pitfalls that maybe you have experienced or another investor that we have on the show has experienced. And so today, that's kind of what I want to talk about. But before we actually did this, you and I just talked about how you haven't really sinned that much. And according to the investment sins, shall we say.
I was gonna say if I say no, am I sinning now, or how does that work?
Yeah, liar. What's that? The Princess Bride thing.
Right?
I would like to hear an investment sin, whether it's pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, or sloth, that you believe you either have done or have experienced. So set us up in that story, and then the confrontation that you experienced, that staring death in the face of that, or staring that sin in the face and being like, uh-oh. And then what you had to do to either fight or what you had to do or are currently doing in order to achieve that level of virtue, the humility, the charity, the purity, the gratitude, the temperance, the patience, and the diligence that a true good investor, that heavenly investor that people want to become, and how you achieved that. So I'm going to let you have the floor. I'd like to hear uh, your story of whether you're at currently or what you have experienced in the past. I'm going to leave it up to you and see where you take us.
Well, I have had no sins in my. No, I'm just kidding. Here's what I would say. I think we all make mistakes at some point in our career. As far as investing, we've done fairly well. And fairly well is a lot of things to a lot of people, right? So I think to try to sum that up or define that from my point of view or from my mind would be that most of our investments have been very successful. We have not had any capital calls yet. We have not had any losses yet. So I think continuing to find the right property and finding the right deal and being patient is a great KPI, key point indicator in trying to make investments. With that said, uh, one of the challenges that I have had personally is we ended up buying a small multifamily complex downtown Dallas, and we are currently in a situation where we probably, as general partners, rushed to get into a deal, didn't take our time, maybe doing some due diligence, although we did due diligence, but we didn't peel back the layers, I guess, of the onion, if you will. So what's happening currently is that we ended up purchasing a property about a year and a half ago, and come to find out, the general contractor, the owner, the general contractor did not do some quality installation, meaning that we had some shower pans throughout the entire building that were not sealed, which caused some water damage, which seeped underneath the floors, which caused flooring issues and subflooring issues, and yeah, I could go on for an hour just on that. But we've been fortunate enough now that we've had some reserves in the bank. We have not had to have a capital call as of yet. We had to call the insurance company, kind of get them out, get some claims going, get inspections done, work with general contractors, work with the property management. And we're going through that process right now. So it's just part of the process. And I think looking back, I'll stop there and then we'll continue with the rest of it. But I think looking back, when we first started, we probably should have done a better job with due diligence, not trusted some outside influence, i.e., broker relation with third party inspections that we were referred to, and probably should have done our own deeper due diligence with our own people. I don't know that that would have exposed the problem because it was an internal or underlying issue that you can't just see or do a visual inspection on. This is one of those things where I don't think you really would know no matter how much due diligence. You could probably see some of the quality of the installation and might have raised some questions. But going back, I think, being patient is one of the key things that I think will keep a lot of new investors, current investors, experienced investors out of trouble. And I think just taking your time and going through things properly will mitigate some of those risks. So where we're at now, like I said, we're currently working with the general contractor, the property manager. We've got, we're 4 units vacant out of an 18 unit complex. Obviously that's, hurting our gross potential income, which is hurting our bottom line, which is not allowing us to make returns on investments or just distributions. So we are expediting the process as much as possible. Got the insurance company out there. They're sending their adjusters, which is structural adjuster, structural engineer, building guy. So we're working through some of those issues, and we think that the insurance will come in and step in and help us with the funds needed to get this rectified so that we don't have to make a capital call. Now, with that said, I will say that if we do have to make a capital call, we as general partners would step in first before we ask any of the LPs to get involved, the limited partners to get involved. So at this point, it's looking pretty good that we'll get that wrapped up, hopefully get all these things sorted out in the next month or two, get released, and be back on track. This is a little bit of a long-term hold for us. So we're not looking to flip this property and never were. So that also plays in our favor as well. So while we may be going through a little bit of a hiccup right now, we obviously have a business plan and a game plan with the insurance company, the property management general contractor to get these things situated and get back on track, which will allow us to catch back up eventually. So that's what patience will give you, I guess.
Well, it sounds like a lot of moving parts. I don't think hiccup is a sin, but no, no. If I were an LP in that situation, as in like your LPs, that seems like they know about this situation.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Transparency has got to be key, man.
that's what I've heard. I've heard that, communication really, it's like in a relationship. I mean, you're getting into bed with these guys, gals, whoever they are, um, people, the money. No,
Yeah.
yeah. And they got to know, like, hey, look, what's going on? Whether it's quarterly, biweekly, monthly, all that stuff. It sounds like is quarterly is kind of the unless something goes awry, is
We
quarterly.
typically, like on most of our properties, we do a monthly update, and that'll include a newsletter. We're always, normally the GPs are in contact with their LPs anyway. So sometimes that takes place a little more often, but we send out a newsletter every month on all of our properties, including this one. And then we'll also have Zoom calls or webinars to update all the investors on what's taking place. This one's a little bit different. Obviously, we have some challenges, so we're on a little bit more of a frequency basis instead of the monthly. But I think quarterly tends to get a little lengthy in between times of updates.
Sure.
We don't always have Zoom calls, but we certainly put out newsletters every month. So yeah, I think going back to your question, your statement, communication, man, especially when you're facing challenges and you're not able to make distributions that you thought you might make. Honestly, some of the stuff that we've had to go through and say, hey, we're not going to make the full distribution. We'll make some, or maybe we don't make any, but they appreciate the fact of, hey, I appreciate you calling me, letting me know what's going on. Please keep me posted. Very, very open conversation, very transparent, and I think they appreciate that.
I would say that if I had given you money, that I would appreciate you chatting with me too. But it seems like this was something that, like you said, was you couldn't really have known from a visual standpoint. Sure, if you broke down the walls, or if you took out the floor and be like inspecting the pipes, then that may be a different story. But it seems like it was out of your hands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a shower pane, if you know anything about construction, I've been in construction for 30 plus years and I didn't see it. So, it's covered up with tile. You put the pan down, you put the tile on, the grout, the whole 9 yards. So there's really no way you can tell unless it had exposed itself prior to us closing on the property or buying the property. So it's just an unfortunate situation, but I think as responsible GPs, you address the problem, you have a plan to get it executed as quickly as possible so that you can get it back on track, and that's all you can do.
Speaking of getting on track, you were able to have these LPs trust you with their investment. For those who are also trying to create a know, like, and trust relationship with other LPs in the business, how did you do it? And how long do you really feel like you took the time, and how long did it take for you to get to that I am trustworthy position to approach LPs and say, look, here's what I can do. Look, here's what I have done. And here's what I can do for you.
That's a good question. I don't know if I have an answer for that, but here's what I'll tell you. A lot of the deals that we have done are based on prior relationships, meaning friends, family, things that we've built over time. One of the best things you can do is once you kind of have that established and you can bring a limited partner in, the number one thing, at least when I'm an LP, is to get a distribution check. So, when we have LPs come into our deal or GPs that bring LPs in, and the first thing we want to do is try to get that distribution check out as quickly as possible, meaning, a lot of people take anywhere from 6 months to a year, normally after purchase price, to get the property stable to make distributions. We, on the other hand, and I'll give you an example, we closed a property across from AT&T Stadium in December 21st, 2022. So 5 months ago, 5-ish months ago, we made our first distributions last month. So we took over the property, stabilized it in 3 months, made distributions the first month after the first quarter. In this market is saying a lot. So that, I think, for not only for them but for me, makes me feel good to be able to say, hey, I did what I said I was going to do. Right? I told you distributions were coming, and that's what we ended up doing. So it's a tough deal. You got to have the prior relationships there. You got to have the trust there. It's not you're going to go out and meet somebody tomorrow and they're going to invest, $50 or $100,000 with you, next week. It just that those things don't happen.
Well, it seems like there's a difference between yourself and other people who are trying to do what you are doing out there. You said that you haven't seen the first episode of the show, but Brad Blazer was on the show and he talked about he's kind of like the art of beliefology. And it seems to me like you believe, you have that belief that you can deliver, that you do deliver. Could you describe what it actually feels like when it comes to being able to send out that distribution sooner rather than later?
Yeah, here's what I could tell you. It gives me goosebumps right now just talking about it because it is such a difficult situation in this market. I mean, there's people out there that are running into major issues and running into walls of interest only, funding, debt running out, and they're having to go into principal and interest payments, and it's a tough situation for some folks right now. It's probably one of the best feelings in the world, and I mean that with all sincerity, because when you're able to have somebody's trust, and not just one person, right? A lot of times it's 30, 40, 50 people, and you have that amount of trust in your lap, and you're able to turn around and do exactly what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it, not knowing that, there might be, like we just talked about the 18 unit, there might be a hiccup down the road. Now, thank goodness that was, a year and a half later, and we were able to make distributions before that. But taking over a new property and trying to stabilize it, it's you got to have some faith, man, and it takes a lot to go through that, have the confidence of being able to go into this property, stabilize it in 3 months, no matter what the situation is, and promise distribution. So just sitting here, you and I talking about it, man, it's just, I don't know that I can describe it other than the fact that it gives me goosebumps just talking about it. So to have that amount of trust from somebody and to do what you say you're going to do is just, it's very rewarding.
I love that answer because I believe that there are some people out there who are genuinely trying to scam other people.
Oh, they're out there.
They're the most certainly out there. And the fact that you get goosebumps talking about, especially at the beginning, you describing yourself as wanting to help other people, you're providing wealth for other people. And people trust you with that. So you can go and, go to that next level and then that next level and then that next level to where you're competing with people like Cardone and all these other multifamily gurus that are out there. Shawn Ricehouse is going to be a big household name, multi-family name, multi-household name at some
Let's
point.
not get ahead of ourselves. Let's take our properties that we have right now and keep those on track, and then we'll talk again in a year or something to see how that goes. But yeah,
Okay.
it's
Where's my pen?
you
Get
work hard for your money, man. It's like
on the show in 12 months.
let's go. Might be a different conversation.
Yeah. What sins have you done today, Mike?
But no, I mean, I had a W-2 for 5 or 6 years. I've been an entrepreneur most of my life, but either whether you have a W-2 or you're an entrepreneur, you work hard for every single dollar. And you see some of these people coming in, understanding the multifamily game, understanding the real estate game in general, that can take that and produce that into generational wealth or passive income, or however you want to look at it. And it's a phenomenal responsibility. It's a massive responsibility to be able to build that trust and take that and take it to the next level. So yeah,
To whom much is given, much will be required.
that's it.
I want to wrap up with a couple of questions because I know, we're coming up on the half-hour mark here.
Sure.
So I like keeping this show to a half hour. Seems like that, once we start instilling commercials and stuff, maybe I can cut it down to 22 minutes. Let's go.
It's kind of good. You get that peak. Yeah, you get that. You just right at the peak, and you're like, oh, we got to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd be like, a little bit of play before being like, yeah, you'll want to come back.
Yeah,
12
exactly.
months, I'll write it
I'm
down.
already booking the next one.
Absolutely. Okay, so how do you want people to approach you if they think they've got a good deal?
With excitement.
I'm talking about phone call, email, text,
Uh,
talking.
Man, anything, email, text, calendar link, phone, it doesn't matter. We're pretty open. We have a little community going now that SEG has built. And we have that, we have once a week calls, and there's all kinds of ways you can get in, and we can start helping. And by the way, all that we do for the SEG community is completely free. So that goes to the attribution of us trying to help, the next investors. But no, I mean, look, if you've got a deal, call, email, text, whatever, come knock on my door. I don't care. But here's the thing, I want you to be excited about what you have. I want you to have the numbers, somewhat in order. Please be prepared. Please be planned. We are helping so many people, and it takes a lot of time to do that, which completely okay with. But don't come to me and just go, hey, I got this deal. And you know what I mean? Bring some. You love the deal, you've walked the deal, you've run the numbers, you think it works, and let's look at it together, and we're more than happy to help.
Love it. So you don't want somebody being like, I got a deal. And you're like, tell me. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that is like the worst thing you can do. So then it's another 2 hours, and I'm going, man, we could have figured this out in 5 minutes. You don't even like the deal. You don't like the location. Why are we even talking?
Yeah. Right. So know your numbers prior to, and know the return, know how you're going to get the return, know all the things prior to approaching Shawn.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't look, you don't have to have it A to Z. That's what we're here for, right? You think the numbers might work, some quick napkin underwriting, and we'll help you put together a business plan on it and take it to the finish line. But when people just bring me something off the internet and they haven't done any work on it, it tells me exactly what kind of person you are.
They want 1% instead of 10. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1% guy. We work the least. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to say as far as helping others when it comes to avoiding the 7 deadly investment sins? Because it seems like you've been avoiding them quite well, and you've just been acting virtuously. So I'd love to hear, what's your secret? What's the secret of acting virtuously, Shawn?
Look, I mean, it kind of goes back to what we started, with the conversation with, and I think that is just being patient and doing your homework, being cautious. Get a mentor. If you're new into the game, get somebody that you've that you've been communicating with, that you like, that you're compatible with. That's another key thing that we didn't really touch on is make sure you know who you're getting into business with. That's very important, because this is a long-term game. It's a minimum of 3 to 5 years, I think, in just about any deal you do in multifamily. So, make sure you have synergy there with your partners. Make sure you're doing your proper due diligence. If you don't know something, pick up the phone and call, ask anybody, somebody else in the world. You'd be surprised of how the broker will help, how the lender has helped us. Our broker and our lender have both invested in our deals they sold us. It's those type of things and relationships that you build, and just, man, be patient, and do your homework, and hopefully you'll avoid some of the pitfalls and some of the 7 deadly sins, and mitigate some of those risks.
Shawn Ricehouse, everybody. Sunbelt Equity Group, right? Sunbelt Equity Group.
That's it.
You offer a bunch of free stuff. Bunch of free crap for people to check out.
Free crap everywhere, man. That's what we're in the business to help, man.
Shawn, thanks for your time. I'm grateful that you were able to share these nonsense. I love it. I think that's great. I haven't really had something like that, but I'm always looking forward to the tragic stories. So when they happen, come calling.
Well,
Um,
like I said, we may be talking 12 months, maybe a completely different conversation, man. I don't know.
that's right. I hope not. I hope
I
that you.
hope not either.
I hope you continue to act virtuously. May God
Mark, thank you. I
God bless
appreciate it,
you.
man.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for watching Investor Hell. Fun. That was fun.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I enjoyed that.
Hey, if you do know people who do have like, pain stories or who like were purposefully like felons or criminals, but then turned around their life around and now can help other people, or if you know somebody who had a deal just go completely wrong, whether it's your LP or what have you, I'd love to have them on the show so they can share their stories as well. I'm going to put this on Spotify. It should be up this weekend, Sunday. So as soon as it's done, I'll just ship it over to you and then share with your friends, fam, your community of here's how you can help how you can help people. And I'm trying to help other people as well to avoid pitfalls. Uh,
Awesome.
Create a investor hell community, try and act as heavenly as we can.
I love it. I love it, dude. That's a great show, man.
Cool. Cool. Cool.